Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I may or may not have spent $100 on books. In my defense, there was a sale on Book Outlet where hardback fiction was $5.99 a book. So instead of buying 4 to 5 books for $100 at Barnes & Noble, I spent $100 on 15 books, which is basically saving money. If you think about it the way I want you to think about it, which is the way I think about it, which is the way you should think about it, so you cannot judge me. Also, it's taken me so long to record this video. I've tried so many ways, and the audio just keeps on getting corrupted, so I'm really hoping this is the last time I have to record this. But let's get into it. I got these books a couple of weeks ago, but I thought I'd do an animated unboxing video where I told you all about what books I got and why. So let's go ahead and get into it. First up, we have lore. Fair warning, almost everything I bought is somewhat based on mythology. I'd say it's my Roman Empire equivalent. That and Jane Austen. She's usually on my mind. Picture a world where Greek gods can lose their godliness and be hunted by men and monsters seeking glory or revenge. It's a classic remix of Percy Jackson and the Hunger Games. That's the premise of lore. It features my favorite Greek goddess, Athena. I dressed up as her as Halloween whenever I was a kid, so of course I had to get this book. Next up, we have Medusa, a story featuring the monster of Perseus' myth before she became that monster. This idea has been done a few times. I have a copy of Stoneblind that I'm still, it's still in my to-be-read pile. Okay, yeah, I know, I bought books when I have a bunch of books already that I need to read. Remember, this is a judgment-free zone. I love writer diversity and seeing what different writers create with similar premise. So of course I had to buy this book so I can compare them and learn and research. It feeds my need for mythology stories. Also, just a lot of people feel like that if they see a book that follows a similar premise to whatever they're writing on the shelf, it means they can't write it because it's already been done. That's a lie. The beauty of creativity is that there's a diversity in storytelling. You are the only one who can tell that story in your own way, so write it. It's just evidence that there's a target market already waiting for you. Once a Monster is a retelling of the Minotaur myth that takes place in London in the 1860s. I don't get to read a lot of books in Greek mythology that have a setting that isn't ancient Greece or modern day, so I'm really excited by this one. Also, I love the Minotaur. I feel like his is such a sad story and he doesn't get enough love. The artwork I see of the Minotaur also astounding, beautiful. I love it. His name is Asterion, by the way, which means star. I really want someday just a really big, cute, fluffy plushie of a blue cow with golden stars embroidered in the sides. I would love that. I feel like someone should get on that. And we can name him Asterion, and he can have his happy ending. And yeah, I love it. I don't read a lot of romance. I especially don't read dark romance. Blood of Hercules caught my eye purely because of the cover at first. Then I read the back, saw the promise of Greek mythology, and I had to get it. I'm slightly nervous and cautiously optimistic to read it. It's also important to broaden my horizons as a writer. I can't just read sci-fi fantasy all the time. If I did, I'd be reading a lot of Brandon Sanderson, and we know how I feel about Brandon Sanderson. It's important for writers to broaden their horizons, read new things, and incorporate different tropes and aspects of storytelling into their writing through what they read. If I only read sci-fi fantasy, then I wouldn't have found writers like Frederick Bachman, who's a contemporary writer, and he's a genius. Son of Blood and Ruin has a premise of Mexica Aztec mythology. It's set in ancient Mexico. There's a girl that balances a noble life and her traditions as an indigenous woman, and it has a lot of mythology and folklore in it. I grabbed this because I'm actually writing a story with similar aspects. I've done a lot of research. I don't really see a lot of books that explore this world, and I really wanted to see what this writer did with it. And I'm really excited about it. It's just a beautiful cover, too, bold and bright and everything it should be. The Witch and the Star explores the history of Russia on the cusp of the reign of Ivan the Terrible, incorporating Slavic mythology and folklore, and, my favorite, Baba Yaga. As a kid, I remember reading different renditions of Baba Yaga, and my favorite thing was the house with the chicken feet. It was so weird and fun. No matter if Baba Yaga was malevolent or benevolent in the story, as long as her house had chicken feet, I loved it. Another romantasy? At least I think it's a romantasy. Ren in the Holly Library. There's a Fae apocalypse, and a girl makes a deal with the Fae and breaks the monster treaty, and there's an enchanted library involved. I'm very excited about that because it sounds kind of like Beauty and the Beast. So I went ahead and bought it. Also, it had sprayed edges, and I love sprayed edges books, so I had to get it. The Cemetery of Untold Stories is about a writer who buries her manuscripts to avoid a tragic fate, but then they come alive and haunt her. I also had a similar idea. I really like the idea of fictional characters interacting with the person who wrote them, and I wanted to see how this writer did it. It also just sounds beautiful and sad and tragic, so I'm very excited for this book. Repeat After Me involves an eldritch-like sea creature. It's very funny, funky. It involves a time loop trope, like Groundhog Day. It sounds hilarious, and I could use a laugh, which also led me to Fault Tolerance. This is a story of a cozy sci-fi astronaut vibe, and the main thing I remember is that there's a robot that's afraid of cats, and there's a lot of cats on the cover. So I had to get it. I bought a few more books. I'll try to go through them fast. Sisters of the Lost Nation is a folklore horror about a creature stealing people off an indigenous reservation. Silver in the Bone has a ring and somehow goes from fantasy world to Chicago. A Study in Drowning, something about books and a library and fairy tales and a rising ocean. It was so pretty I kind of didn't read what it was about. A Phoenix Keeper, a zookeeper, but in a fantasy world, so they specialize in phoenixes. Very excited about that. My bookshelf is begging for mercy, so I might pause on books a little bit, at least until I see another book that looks really pretty. This is your reminder that reading as a writer is almost as important as the writing itself. A good writer remains aware of their market, audience, current genres, everything that they can do to enhance their storytelling. The more you read, the more you know. And the more you know, the more you grow. Thanks so much for watching. This video, recording it, just about killed me. And it killed the outro too. There is no outro here. It died. Sorry, this would have been its debut, but I guess next time my audio should just behave. Maybe we'll get to have an outro then.